operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the Accelerate Your Business Across the Enterprise conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press. Thank you. David Rapace, Product Manager for Infor LX, you may begin your conference.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us today for Accelerate Your Business Across the Enterprise. This is our second session for the Summit Week for LX, and we'll get started here with presentations here. Amanda, if you can pass the presentation to me. So today with us, again, my name is Raz. I'm the Product Manager for Infor LX. And we've got three participants today. Peter Shada, who is a Senior Business Consultant for Supply Chain Execution Application. Matt Wilson, who will cover EAM and is also a Business Solution Consultant. And then David Foster, who is part of our System I group, who will talk about Salesforce.com integration, a proprietary integration, which is known as Infor. So again, this is the agenda for today. These are solutions that Infor offers that are integrated with LX at various levels. Supply chain execution is integrated with LX today through ION. EAM will be integrated with LX this summer through the ION architecture as well. And Infor Every, which I mentioned is our proprietary integration with Salesforce.com, will be available at the end of this month. So we'll get started here, and we'll start with Peter, who will cover supply chain execution.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will just share my desktop, and we will get started. Okay, well, welcome everyone to the presentation today. I will be covering off on supply chain execution, and what's important to know is that not only are we fully integrated through ION to LX, but what we've done in supply chain execution is we've unified the solution by putting WMS, labor management, transportation management, and third-party logistics billing all under one unified solution. So each one of those areas is fully comprised within supply chain execution. You can turn on or turn off different portions of that as it's needed for your environment. But the important part is that all of the within the four walls functions of warehouse management are certainly covered, including task management and complex business strategies that can be built into the product flow and just the flow of goods within the four walls of the facility. Labor management and productivity tracking is really being able to track all of your individuals within your operation and within your enterprise down to the specific work tasks where they're performing them and the time elements that are associated with each of those different work elements compared to actuals or to a reasonable standard. Transportation management for routing and rating and optimization so that orders can come into the system and we can build multi-stops, we can build full truckloads, we can process small parcel within the application. And then for those folks who maybe have excess capacity or multiple divisions that you're tracking within your operation where you need to distinguish ownership of inventory within your facility, vendor managed inventory could also come into play here. You have the ability to keep track of those inventories individually by owner or by vendor. And then if you have excess capacity, you could actually bill for storage and handling and any sort of accessorial charges that are present within the operation for that particular product or group of products. All of that is built within Infor supply chain execution. So ultimately, what we've tried to do is we've taken a best-in-class solution and we've built in the ability to streamline work operations within a facility. So being able to perform single scan receiving with RF, being able to do cross-stocking through the operation, whether it's pulling goods off of one container and moving them to another, or whether it's taking stuff directly off of a container and assigning it to an outbound order immediately without having to put away and replenish and pick product. Dealing with appointment scheduling and the management of those inbound and outbound loads that are coming into the facility is a key piece to start the process quickly and easily. From a productivity and efficiency perspective, it's using technology to be able to help you as an organization drive your business and have the system make decisions as opposed to individuals having to sort paper or to think about what that next best task is going to be. On the lower right-hand side, it touches on all of the different functional areas within supply chain execution, and it touches on each of those areas that we described in the previous slide with warehouse management, task management and labor, third-party logistics billing, and transportation.
So Peter, this is Dave. If I could interrupt you here. LX has a lot of visibility embedded in the product to look at inventory and do inventory inquiries. So can you go a little bit more detail and explain some of the added visibility that's available through SCE and some of the improvements in productivity that can be achieved?
Sure, absolutely. So let's jump over into the application and we'll take a look at a couple of the screens and walk you through a few of the different areas of the application that will be helpful to you. So I'm going to just pop this up into full screen mode. And I'm going to bounce back and forth because I have a few things to show from my desktop as well. So ultimately, we present information to the users in a couple different ways. One is in graphical form with drill down capability. Second way is more traditional with tables, with headers and detail, or being able to search across a filter screen. But on this particular query screen or this particular filter screen, you have ASN receipts or expected inbounds or received records and purchase orders. If I wanted to look at all of those that were in receiving, I can click on that wedge of the pie and it's going to drill into my expected receipts and just those records that are in receiving. So it gives you a quick and easy way to navigate through the system and to be able to get to records very easily and to find the appropriate records as quickly as possible. Same is true on the outbound side, and it's being able to get very granular with functional status changes that occur with the handling of goods within the four walls of the facility. And again, having that drill down capability from here so they can get a bird's eye view as to what's happening, but then get to the details as needed. Depending on what this graph looks like and the time of day can certainly help you as a warehouse manager, as a shipping clerk, to be able to understand if you're behind or if you're working right on schedule throughout the day. If you drill into any of the tables, there are a couple things that are worth noting. You can put in complex queries across the top filter screens. You can use literal references, words like today, for queries to be able to find records easily. So I did a search for just those records that I wanted to look at today within my receiving screen. On any of these screens, you can do an advanced sort. So I can take particular columns that I might want to use, excuse me, and I can sort them using the column headers that exist across the top so that I can reorder my data as it maybe suits me for that particular filter and view of data that I've looked at. On almost all of the screens throughout the system, you also have, and I'll preface this, on some of the screens you have import capability, but on all of them, for the most part, you have export capability. So you can export this specific query data directly into an Excel spreadsheet so that you could use that data in some other form or analytic as you move forward, just with how you need to use the data through different parts of your operation. And that's available to you in many different forms throughout the application. For locations, for example, you can update locations quickly and easily with new information or a new setting or commingling rules that you may set for how you're going to handle goods specific to a location. The easy form that gives you is that if you have a whole new row of locations that you want to change one or two criteria on, you could export them, make those changes, import them back into the system if you have permission to perform that task, and it's going to perform the same validation that you get when you update a screen through the keyboard, only it's going to import it for you and do those types of mass changes, if you choose to, very quickly and easily. Now, a couple other ways that we've been able to drive some of the efficiencies and drive some of the operation within the four walls, having something like this, which is the facility viewer. It's using XYZ coordinates for each location within the facility, and it's drawing our facility within my database. This is exactly what my warehouse looks like. If I just use a hotkey and highlight my sections, excuse me, I have certain picking sections, I have bulk sections that I have over here, I have an office section, and within this, we started designing our labor management components so that we could understand travel paths and pick paths and different ways that a user may travel through the facility to perform a work task. And that's how we started designing this facility viewer, so that we could do things like looking at a point of origin and looking at a point of destination and understanding what travel path the system believed the user should travel, and being able to look at all the criteria about that travel path with location information, the distance traveled, how many corners they had to go around, so that we could understand the time elements that are associated with each one of those work activities. Over time, though, what we said is, besides labor, we can use this to be able to start looking at inventory and start looking at empty locations or damaged locations or hold locations that may exist within the facility. Now, I'm guessing that most of your facilities look just the opposite of this. It's not all the yellows being empties, but in fact, all of the yellows being full locations. Our data set is slightly different than that. You have held inventory that could be presented. You also have searches that you can perform for a particular product. So if you wanted to find out where one product is in the facility, now you have color highlighted locations where that particular product is within the facility. If I drill into one of those, it gives me all the particulars about the location and then the product or products in this case that reside within that physical location within the facility. Other things that we've done to be able to try and help you as an organization to be able to expand what you do as your warehousing operations become a little bit more complex, having, again, graphical view of what appointment scheduling might look like, and having the ability to show all the hours of a day and all the different doors. Something is in red, it means that all the time slots available for that particular slot for an appointment are taken up. Where it's green, there's still available time for that particular door. And you can look by door, you can look by hour for your appointments. From a productivity perspective, it's having the ability to track all of the different work functions that each particular individual has completed with start times, end times, and potentially a standard time that's associated with that work activity. The standard time being a work standard that's either a reasonable standard or an expected time that something should take, or it could be a discrete standard that you've defined that allows you as an organization to measure all of the different work functions that make up a put away or that make up a replenishment task within the four walls. And then the system will track that particular user against those work standards. And then ultimately you can look at your cost of operating labor within a particular facility and look cross supervisor, across warehouse. You have the ability to look at enterprise level, so warehouse to warehouse comparison on cases shipped per hour across a time continuum. You have the ability to take facility performance and look how well your workers are working against the standard and where they fall from a percentage attainment against the standard. That type of work productivity and having the system help to define what the next best work tasks are that someone will perform is what helps drive some of that work efficiency within the four walls of the operation. So you can do that through productivity and labor. You can certainly review inventory at a very granular level and manage whether it's holds of inventory, adjustments of inventory, moves from a workstation perspective as well as from an RF perspective. And I'm going to just pop up my RF gun. So I have an RF network here in my office, and I have a number of different ways to be able to view data, to be able to perform different transactions. If I click off of my main menu and select receiving, it asks me for a printer because if I'm going to print labels, I want it to be a printer close by. Ideally, what happens is product will come off a production line. We have a barcode associated with it. I have a LPN or a license plate associated with that particular product. And I'm going to just scan the license plate and do a single scan receipt so that I can either confirm the critical data element that's associated with that product, or I can key in or scan in that particular information if it's on that barcode or contained in a barcode that is on that product as it comes in. When I hit enter through this record, it will then automatically post that record. And when I talked about labor and efficiency, I wanted to show this particular screen. So my standard time for performing one receipt transaction is 38 seconds. It's taken me 22 minutes and 6 seconds because my clock started the last time I performed a work task, and it starts counting for the next work task. So my attainment here was only 2.87%. Over the course of the day, as I start accepting and working my tasks, those times, of course, will be more efficient, but we're able to track that down to a very granular and specific level. Now, a couple other things that I just wanted to kind of recap on this high level is we've looked at different ways to present data. We looked at different ways to look at data. One thing we didn't really talk about in detail is also the wave planning capabilities within the system, being able to use criteria that exists on your shipment orders, your item table to be able to say what orders you want to provide fulfillment for at any given point in time during the day. Again, you can use literal references. You can say, I want all of tomorrow's orders that are going to ship between 1 and 3. Every time you run that, it's always going to look for tomorrow between 1 and 3. Those filters can be saved. They can be created with a graphical view. They could also be created in a more traditional table view. We've looked at the facility viewer, and we've looked at just some of the different ways that you can drive some of the function within the four walls and gain some of the efficiencies and have the system help to provide that.
So Peter, can you briefly explain a little bit how technology then kind of helps in the solution and how the user experience?
Sure. So the last piece that we really wanted to talk about is we looked a little bit at RF, and having real-time scanning and real-time updates is certainly a great way to be able to get 99 point, in some cases 9+% inventory accuracy to the location level. Other technologies that come into play, voice technology for picking, for hands-free, eyes-free picking is fully integrated into the application. And then ultimately, mobile devices to make you as an organization more mobile and more operational without having to have your hands on a keyboard or without having to necessarily have an RF unit. So being able to look at work expectancies and monitors and different analytics. And what I'd like to do at this point is just to play parts of a brief video that covers off on our Warehouse Director, which is a mobile application that runs on an iPad to give you access to your environment and make you mobile.
Imagine on your commute to work. Warehouse Director is a new and innovative iPad app that can be used with Infor's supply chain execution product. Once you log into the app, the homepage displays a set of analytics, which are grouped into horizontal panels. The first tells me how much work to expect on the inbound side. I can easily see the number of carrier appointments that are scheduled, the number of ASNs and lines, the number of pallets, and the cubic volume to expect. Each of these metrics can be hidden if they do not apply or configuration options changed to filter the data that's returned. For example, the ASN metric can be tailored to only report on certain types, carriers, or owners. I have this metric set up to report on ASNs that are in a new status, with a normal receipt type and a transportation mode of truckload. The inventory panel is telling me that I have a physical inventory in progress. The counters on Team A are done with their counts, and Team B is still working on theirs. My inventory manager has 47 supervisor cycle counts to do today, and it looks like we need to have a discussion on our inventory accuracy, because it's drifted down to 89%. The last two metrics, panel has metrics similar to those for the inbound workflow, except they give me an indication of how much work I have today on the shipping side. The location panel is a shortcut bar, which lets me save shortcuts to common location queries. My heat map query gives me a color-coded map of the facility where the highest picking volume is occurring. It helps me identify areas of possible congestion and determine if I have inventory stored in the right places. I also have a query saved to show me the empty locations. Simply tapping on the metric takes me to a map of the facility with those locations highlighted in green. The facility map is a top-down view of my warehouse. When I select a rack location, I can see all of the locations that are stacked on top of each other in the left panel, with the inventory contents of each location. From here, I can change the attributes of a location or piece of inventory while out on the floor, rather than waiting to get back to my desk. For example, if the location is damaged, I can add a hold code to prevent it from being used.
So this is one of the ways that we have taken technology to a step further than it has been in the past and made it accessible, made it, I'll say, relevant to today's technology, and given you the access and the ability to be able to, as a supervisor, transact business but be mobile while doing it. So that's one of the major ways that we've taken technology to a new level to be able to provide our customers with what they need to be able to run their business. So what I'd like to do is just thank you very much on the supply chain execution side. That is what I had wrapped up for today. I'm going to pass it over to Matt Wilson, who is going to cover EAM for you. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, Peter. Matt, so if you could give us some brief presentation in enterprise asset management and what it can mean to our customers' businesses.
Will do. Peter, can you pass control back over to me? Yeah, now the presenter.
You should have it now, Matt.
Yep, got it. So you should be seeing my desktop at this point. Is that right?
Yep, we're good.
In the PowerPoint?
Yep.
What we're going to talk about today is how to get the most out of your plant assets, right? And talk about why EAM is important to that, what the tools are available in EAM to help you with that, and who else is using it, maybe a couple case studies. Now, the solution footprint for Infor EAM is first, of course, to manage your assets, whether it be buildings, fleet, process equipment, telecom, linear assets like railroad, pipelines, geospatial assets, and also manage the processes with which you do work, whether it be materials management, purchasing, labor contracts, capital projects. And a lot of that, of course, is done as well through managing maintenance strategies, whether it be reactive inspections for 21 CFR 11 calibrations, predictive PM scheduling. But something that EAM does that a lot of other solutions do not do is also help manage sustainability for energy consumption and CO2 emissions, and provide reporting through analytics and KPIs, key performance indicators. And in addition, EAM through ION has interoperability, of course, to interface with practically anything like VPIX, LX, those kinds of things, and also interface with other partner solutions, whether it be EPAC for training, GIS for spatial optimization, resource scheduling, space management with OpenCAD, for facilities management. Any of those kinds of integrations are possible with Infor ION integration. Just a few of the companies that currently use Infor EAM, as you can see here, very large, well-established companies. The reason these companies have invested in Infor EAM as a solution is because all of them, of course, have equipment, right? Every company, all of you, have equipment. And, of course, the natural tendency of equipment as it's in operation is to degrade over time, right? It degrades, the efficiency goes down. Many companies in the past actually still to this day operate to failure. Now, the purpose is to fix that through some type of preventive maintenance program. And just about every CNMS out there today, or EAM solution, of course, has a preventive maintenance program. However, where EAM and Infor EAM comes in is to alert you based upon declination of efficiency, right? There's a lot of money being lost. It's unrecognized. But if you could get an alert as soon as that piece of equipment begins to degrade, there's a lot of money and savings right there, not only from the standpoint of efficiently producing product, but also just in the energy consumption alone. Now, those notifications can be done through, as you see here, KPIs and inbox. You're actually looking at a screenshot here of Infor EAM and the dashboard screen. Those alerts can also be sent out via email. And the purpose, of course, is to improve your decision-making through that dynamic notification, right? Now, Infor EAM also helps you in managing equipment. Here's kind of a screenshot of what it could look like inside the system. You've got a conveyor belt system, and you've got the different motor positions of that conveyor belt, right? You've got the different assets in here. And as one asset fails and is removed from the system, the ability to have repairable spares and track those to replace those critical pieces of equipment is something that Infor EAM is able to help you do as well. And to create that system hierarchy, to track systems and locations and positions, not only just the assets. As you go through the processes, there's also the ability to create graphical workflows so that in interfacing, for instance, with LX, you can, go in and submit work requests through ION Workspace. Does the request require approval when you need an MRO part? Approve or reject it? Does it require additional approval? So you can go through any complicated or simple process through workflow. The purpose, of course, is to manage your processes and to have a visual to show you where you are in the process of managing transactions. Something that is also very popular in managing work is Infor EAM Mobile. We have over 100 EAM developers working every day on EAM, and I would say that probably half of those are working on our mobile solution because that's simply the wave of the future. We recently developed Infor EAM for iPad. Notice here we can manage work orders, the activities of those work orders, book the labor, be able to go and create routes so that if you go from one piece of equipment to the other, view the equipment on a map, issue parts, look at parts availability, print reports and work orders. And one of the most popular things right now is FaceTime collaboration. Just imagine a maintenance guy goes out, he's a pretty new guy, and he's never saw a particular problem before on a piece of equipment. He turns the camera toward the piece of equipment he's having a problem with, starts a FaceTime session, is communicating real time with a more experienced technician or the maintenance manager back at the shop to know what to do to that piece of equipment. Also on the iPad to be able to check off things, have check sheets for inspections. So this does away really with meter rounds. And if you've got spatial assets, the interface with GIS or global Google Maps to find assets on a map, that's important for rail, pipelines, and things of that nature. But one of the big things today, of course, is reliability planning. As you can see here, we've got the ability to create any kind of report that you want, to look at profitability, hazard function, whatever the case may be, unreliability. The key thing here is being able to put information into the system for reliability and, of course, be able to give you the analysis that you need to manage your businesses.
Hey, Matt, can you explain this a little bit further? For our businesses, for our customers, downtime really affects profitability, and minimizing downtime is so essential for their businesses. Can you go a little bit more detail with some of these slides represent?
Yeah, I certainly will, David. Notice here, basically this is to show you any kind of graph that you want, really. Now, I don't have downtime as a function down here. Perhaps the thing I have closest is, notice down at the bottom left, unreliability. So you're tracking unreliability, kind of the inverse of the next slide, reliability. Part of that reliability, of course, is that downtime. So the reliability slide could just as easily read downtime there, right? So as you're sub-metering equipment, monitoring equipment, that information can be fed directly into EAM or through the iPad. You can go out and do meter rounds. But the key here is to measure that performance, right? Whether it be downtime or some other type of performance measurement that you want to set up. Anything can be put into the system to monitor the asset performance. I know that's kind of nebulous there. If you folks want to do an advanced demo where we actually talk about some of your sub-metered equipment and the kinds of analysis you can get out of the system, we can certainly do that. One of the most common things that's monitored, of course, is energy. As the energy information from sub-metering equipment is fed into EAM, whether it be water, waste treatment, greenhouse gas emissions, it comes in to be able to provide reporting for GRI, CSR, any of that kind of reporting, also providing you with business insights about being able to reduce energy costs. But also one of the big things now is about going green, corporate policy and metrics surrounding energy consumption. EAM has the ability to monitor the energy, water, waste, greenhouse gases, and provide the reports needed to meet that corporate policy and provide metrics. Just a few here customers that we've worked with in the past, Pinnacle Food Groups, as you see here, the business challenges over here on the right. These are often very similar as we go from company to company. The major thing is they've grown over time. They've outgrown their ability to manage their preventive maintenance, their reliability planning. They need to roll up assets and related costs into an ERP system of some type. In this case, of course, it was with BPIX. They had pockets and, well, maybe not even pockets, but different satellites of asset management. Each plant was different. So they needed some standardization to bring things together, to share those pockets of information, to have really corporate information available to make corporate-wide decisions. The same was true with Weston Foods. One of their big problems, of course, was MRO management and the ability to reduce downtime with their equipment. Notice in the results down here, a big thing is they reduced the 90 days down, the 90-day major asset failures down from 9 to only 2. That could be some huge, huge savings when you apply the dollar signs to that. So in summary, Infor EAM is designed to help you get the most out of your plant assets. It's very flexible and configurable. The solution provides multiple options for notifications, whether it be alerts or emails. Supports all types of operations, whether it be facilities, equipment assets. You also have the ability to push that out to mobile devices to do reliability planning and analysis, and also monitor energy. It can also integrate with any type of solution you want, including your ERP system. So we want EAM to be designed to support both your tactical and strategic needs, and it is, because it wouldn't have the kind of success that it has worldwide if it were not all that. Well, gang, that's everything that I had planned. Next on the agenda is David Foster, who's going to talk with you about Infor Everywhere.
Thank you, Matt. Would you give me control?
Yep, doing that now.
Okay. Again, my name is David Foster. I'm a business solutions consultant for Infor, and my topic for the next few minutes is going to be Infor Everywhere. Should I bring up my PowerPoint? Infor Everywhere. Infor Everywhere is built on Salesforce.com, the leading customer relationship management in the marketplace. It's based on the second generation cloud application, so it's web-based. By being web-based, it means there's no software, there's no hardware, there's no issues with updates, issues with upgrades. They're automatically done. They're instantly done. It uses a very straightforward and familiar design. It's very similar to most customer web or consumer websites. It's consumer grade, very intuitive as you're walking through it. It allows extensive collaboration. The value of collaboration here in this environment is the ability to communicate with your peers as well as your customers, in addition to be able to monitoring activity on the internet, news information, stock information, acquisition information, so you can keep up to date and up to speed on everything that's going on within your territory. It's very tailorable, so you set it up the way you work. You can put the information that you use on a daily basis on the same tab, if you will, or on the same screen, so you can see specifically what you want. And in every case, you can drill down to additional information. It comes with pre-built dashboards, and the beauty of the dashboards that you see in Salesforce.com is that there's a report, a tabular report behind it. So if you see a report and you say, where do these numbers come from? Let's drill down, and you see the detail associated with it. Okay, it comes with over 100 free App Exchange dashboards. You simply download them and install them on your own site, and all of a sudden they're there for everybody. You can set up what dashboards are on what screen, so you can have a screen full of just dashboards or a couple of dashboards and maybe some detailed information, so fully customizable. You can synchronize your calendar and reminders with Microsoft Outlook, and personally browsing through the App Exchange, there's a lot of applications in there. The App Exchange is kind of like the App Store for Apple and things like that. You simply go in there and browse what's available, and some of them are free and some of them have fees associated with them, but there's applications, all kinds of applications out there. It's a number that's continuously growing. Within Salesforce.com, we have the ability to assign tasks. To assign a task, for example, if you're working with a customer service rep or you're working with a sales associate, then you can assign certain activities. So here I am, I was visiting a customer, and the customer asked to have different additional material, maybe some brochures on some of our product lines. Well, I can assign a task now to my sales associate to be able to send those brochures to that customer. Enormous visibility across the board. We can see all information about customers, customer interactions, sales activities. All departments have visibility of this. The nice piece here is as your customer is interacting with your company, they may be talking to your inside sales force. They may be talking to your shipping department. They may be talking to your warranty group. Okay, So all the interactions that you have with your customer then are going to be documented and included within Salesforce.com. So now we have a single point where the salesperson can go in prior to calling on the customer, prior to contacting the customer, and they can review exactly what's going on so there are no surprises, or they can be better prepared when they get in front of the customer. The ideal thing, you want your salespeople knocking on doors, pressing the flesh, selling your products, rather than spending time trying to draw out information or being caught off guard with issues with a customer that they should have been aware of. This ties everything together, all interactions, all activities with your customer, so that it's in one concise location. In addition, by having it consolidated like that, not only does it give you the salesperson, not only is it a resource to your salesperson, it's also a resource to sales management. So they have visibility then into the kinds of things you're doing with the customer, the topics of conversation based on your call reports, and as well as any issues that may exist with that customer. So what is Enforce Everywhere? I've spent the first two slides talking about Salesforce.com. Enforce Everywhere takes all the information that is traditionally contained in an ERP system, and in this case LX. Okay, we have information about our customers and, of course, contact information. We have quote information and order information. We're now starting to deviate. We're starting to see where there's more information in the ERP system than traditionally in a CRM application. So we have information about shipments, about invoices and payments, as well as product returns and the products that your customers purchased. So what we've done is we've used the power of ION, and we've tied the two together, okay? We've taken Salesforce.com and integrated it to ION, so it's really kind of a two significant pieces that we've done here. We've integrated Salesforce.com to ION. We've integrated LX to ION so they can communicate back and forth. We've then added applications into Salesforce.com, so we now take information that's contained within LX and we move it to Salesforce. So now your salesperson not only has the industry's leading CRM application, we now have other business information related to our customer that is traditionally stored in the ERP system. So when we get in front of a customer or when we're reviewing our calls for the day, maybe we're in a hotel or maybe we're on a plane and we're reviewing what's going on, we'll see not only our customer information, contact information, and quotes that we're working, but we'll also see actual orders and shipments. So we can walk in the front door to the customer and they say, hey, where's my stuff? And very quickly we go, oh, yeah, that shipped yesterday. Should be here, by Friday. We'll be able to see invoices. Ta-da! Now's a chance, if you have a slow-paying customer, you now have another topic of conversation. It gives you yet another opportunity in front of the customers to discuss their invoices, as well as their payments. Any returns, you'll know exactly what they're returning and why they're returning it. You'll be abreast of that. Again, you'll be informed when you walk in the door to the customer. And now the products. Interesting here, what we'll do is we'll take the information on the products and we'll do a comparison of this year to last year on what your customer's buying and how much they're buying. Now, this can be used a bunch of different ways from a sales perspective. We can say, okay, they typically buy product A. Let's push product B. Maybe we can increase our sales of product B as well. Or perhaps they've been buying 100 units of product A every month. If we can get them to sign a volume purchase agreement, maybe we can pump that up to 150 a month, or maybe we can sell a lump sum of 1,000. So this kind of information, your salesperson armed with this kind of information, now they can go into your customer and be far more effective. It reduces the amount of time that they have to uncover information and prevents them from being blindsided when they walk into the customer door. So again, it's based on Salesforce.com. It's enhanced with customer service functions. It's fed from LX, so we get accounts and customers, quotes and orders, item information, contact information, invoices, and shipments. In addition, it receives back from Enforce or from Salesforce.com customer information and contact information. So if I'm the salesperson, I'm out there, I update the information on the customer, new phone numbers, new contact. I can put that into to Enforce, and then it synchronizes back and updates LX based on their security. Okay, all of this can be secured. So if we look at Salesforce, let's drill down into more things that Salesforce does. Salesforce is the culmination of the second generation of cloud computing. First generation, of course, to make it easy, to make it fast, to make it low cost. And examples of those are Amazon and eBay and Google. So we've moved to the second generation where now it's social, it's mobile, and it's open. So examples of that are the early risers in the second generation, things like Facebook and YouTube, as well as Twitter. So now we're interacting, we're socializing with our peer group. So we look at that, we went from very, very easy now to social. Not suggesting social is more difficult, but it's expanded. We've crossed the boundary. Everyone knows how to use the Internet. Everyone can get around to the Internet. Now let's expand it and let's put it to practical use, okay? So here we're offering the marketing and sales and service applications delivered mobile in a social environment using the cloud environment to work with. If you look at the applications that come with Salesforce, in addition to accounts and contacts, which you would expect, it expands well beyond that. And I'm going to touch on a few of those. If we look at Chatter, this is simply the instant messenger, professional instant messenger. This is designed for you to communicate with your peers, your customers, be able to tap into the Internet, to be able to collaborate and be able to stay informed. Accounts and contacts, as you would expect. It's going to manage your customers. It's going to give you a 360-degree view of your customers. You're going to know everything that's going on, who's assigned to them, what their activity was, what kind of situations or what kind of issues may be going back and forth. So again, you're prepared when you walk in the front door. You're as informed as you can be. It helps you do opportunity management, and opportunities are going to be tied back to your quotas and to your forecasting. So by tracking opportunities and by being able to determine the probability of sale on an opportunity or the progression through the opportunity gives you a better handle on forecasting. Marketing and leads, it does leads management as well as marketing campaign type activities. So if you're going to do a campaign like a new product rollout, if you're going to do, maybe you're going to open new sales offices and you need to get the word out, maybe you've been to some trade shows and you've gathered a bunch of leads. It'll help you manage those leads and then finally help you negotiate that into a deal. So again, it's going to streamline the otherwise manual processes, including not only your existing contact type information, expand beyond that, and then also tie back in all the information that you're putting together in the LX system. Social media monitoring, this is going to be where we tap into what's going on. It's kind of like a Twitter, so that we basically want to tap into specific information. Maybe it's going to be industry topics, maybe it's going to be financial topics, maybe it's going to be specific customers, but we can basically bring all this information in and let you sell smarter. You walk into a customer and you've reviewed all your social media, you know what's going on. You are the most current not only with their interaction with your company, but what's going on within the industry and even what's going on with the customer that you're calling on. So it becomes very powerful, and it gives you an enormous amount of knowledge to walk into your customer and be very well informed and very effective and optimize both your time and their time. This is an interesting application. It's called Jigsaw, and what it does is it maintains currency and accuracy of contact information by accessing masses of information on the web. So the idea is to validate what you have in your contact information, and if it's not current or it's not correct, it then updates it on your behalf. It's optional to use that, by the way. Of course, email and calendaring, it can tie back to your favorite email application. It can work seamlessly so that when you log on to Salesforce and you look at your calendar, you're looking at your Outlook calendar or whatever email system you use. It's tied that closely together. Again, the App Exchange offers an enormous amount of applications to help make that association. There are built-in analytics. There are tons of analytics, very attractive graphing, all different types of graphs and charts, so you can constantly monitor. If you're in sales management, maybe you want to monitor forecasting, maybe you want to monitor actual sales, maybe you want to monitor sales by unit, but it gives you the ability to monitor every aspect of your sales cycle, of your salespeople. Okay, and you pick and choose what you want, and behind each one of them is going to be a report, so you can drill down and see the detailed information associated with it. And as you would expect, it's with Salesforce and now Infor, you can pretty much close deals from anywhere. Okay, it does all the Apple products, it does the BlackBerry products, and does the Android products. Works very, very well. Gives you information at your fingertips. App Exchange, it's the Salesforce store. It's one of the icons when you go into Salesforce. You select it. The last number we have is 1,100, but these are growing every day, and people use them. Over 35,000 of the customers have one or more installed. So you can browse it, you can check things out across the board in terms of applications. Very, very powerful, very robust. Very beneficial. There's some customers have benefited greatly, all the way from the sales and productivity. Clearly productivity, because everything's organized. When it's organized, I can spend more time on making sales and less researching information. Forecasting accuracy, that's always a big deal. Forecast is simply a degree of wrongness, but this improves forecasting accuracy significantly, because now we have a better handle on the stage we're in within our opportunities. So here are some quick snapshots. If you're familiar with Salesforce.com, you'll see some differences when we look at Infor. We're essentially connecting the front office to the back office. We have the same tabs. If your home page is set up this way, again, it's customizable. So we've logged on as an account merchant or account manager, and we have our existing tabs, and then we've added all the ERP tabs. Okay? Not only are they added, they're actually embedded within the account record. So this is the account. These are the ERP information, sales orders, invoices, receivables. We're going to have returns. We're going to have products, all that built into it. It has the ease and use. We're tied into the social media, so we're enabling and participating in chatter. These are some ideas of how it looks when we look at our list of accounts. If we look at our detail, you can see the same information is contained in there. With that, I will turn it over to Mr. Rapaz. Dave?
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. If you can just pass the presentation back to me. So everyone, this is kind of a speed session here of three products, 3 Infor best-of-breed products. So you simply get a chance to see some of the offerings and determine if they are a solution that you may be interested in. If you are, what we'll do here, I've got a slide with some contact information. We'll come up here in just a second. So if the operator could start queuing up questions while we quickly go over this. If you have questions about this webinar or specifics about want specific demos in more detail in regard to the products we saw here today, the contact information here at the bottom, Garth Weber is available to be contacted and can align you with the proper people to get demos on any of these products. And again, for a reminder for tomorrow, we have day 3 of our summit. We're going to go through some of the ION offerings, specifically Pulse, Workflow, Event Manager, and LX Connector, which isn't an ION offering, but provides also some connectivity options that you may not be aware of. So that is scheduled for tomorrow. Hopefully you can join us. And again, we'll be providing all the attendees a recording of this webinar at a later date sometime next week.